the possibility this woman had been through some trauma, which is why she found herself in these situations, which I think is a reasonable theory. If she's a trauma survivor, does that make her more likely to be making false accusations?
Well, unfortunately, the research does show that people who are trauma survivors also have these higher incidences of false allegations or even faulty memory that might
stop. I'm going to stop you. That doesn't mean that it didn't happen to them. In fact, this is the conundrum of these kinds of populations, yes, because they're both the people to whom this sort of thing happens and the people who are a little more likely to fabricate, right?
That's right. And some of that fabrication isn't intentional, Dr. Drew. Sometimes that's how they remembered something.
Yes.
Sometimes it's through even hypnotherapy that they somehow recall that they were somehow raped. And
so Judy, stop, because the people aren't going to get quite what you said there. That people, these are genuine memories laid down as almost screen memories in the brain that are distortions.
That's right. And, you know, once the memory is created, Dr. Drew, there is no way to tell what's real and what's not.
And it can continue to change. And it can keep changing, too.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So, Leanne, what do you make of the friendship between Epstein and a prince? Does that seem a little bizarre to you?
No, when people have a lot of money and a lot of fame and your royalty, they all sort of run in the same circles because only certain people can afford those lifestyles, and they like that. My question is with Jane Doe, I think 2 and 3, they were saying that when this all started, they were like 15 and 16 years old. And where are their parents? Where are their friends? Aren't they in school? I mean, how do 2 15 and 16-year-old girls just become prostitutes that are traveling the world servicing these men? And if it did happen, like, don't we know anything else about them?
Right.
Well, that's, Mark, I imagine what you're talking about when you say what the facts are.
Yeah, I think that it is incumbent upon the attorneys filing a lawsuit against reputable people like Dershowitz, a Harvard professor, to investigate thoroughly, to see if there's independent evidence to corroborate what she's saying. And I've said on this show and many places in front of jurors, I will say there is a difference between believability and accuracy, that someone could look believable but be completely inaccurate and lying through their teeth. You can't judge based on how they look to you.
And Samantha, did you notice that Buckingham Palace named one of these women in their statements, in the statement? And, you know, and she's potentially a sexually assaulted victim.
Right.
Yeah, Leanne mentioned one was called Jane Doe. They were both called Jane Doe at a certain time, but now they're starting to name names.
I know.
Any problem with that?
I don't think, I do have a problem with that. And I don't think that that's a coincidence, Dr. Drew. I mean, I just came back from London and walking around Buckingham Palace, and it is everywhere, and the headlines are everywhere, and it is sensational out there. You think about the headlines here, multiply that by 1,000 over there, and I tell you what, the Queen was not happy that Prince Andrew was even friends with Jeffrey Epstein. And from what I saw, or from what I talked about over there, he stopped being friends with him, I guess, over a year or so ago because of the fact that the Queen was not happy about that
But that
friendship.
still was after his jail sentence. Leanne, what?
Dr. Drew, let's face it. The Queen is hoping that Prince Harry, naked in a hotel room with some people in Vegas, comes back into the headlines.